By this we shall know that we are of the truth, and before him shall persuade our heart, that if our heart blames us, oh, how my heart blames me. Could I not have done more? Has pride filled my heart? Is there sin? And then the diabolos, he stirs up our past, and our heart blames us. Before him shall persuade our heart, that if our heart blames us, that greater than our heart is God, and knows all things. Beloved, if our heart does not blame us, we have confidence with God, and whatever we ask we receive from him, because we keep his commandments, and the things pleasing before him we do. And this is his commandment, in order that we should believe in the name of his Son, Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ, and love one another as he gave us charge. I remember that last gathering before the crucifixion. He had washed our feet. And he said this: by this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. And he gave us this command to love one another. As he gave charge to us, and the keeping of his precepts in him remain, and he in him. And by this we know that he remains in us by the Spirit, by the Parakletos, by the called along beside one in us. In us. By the Spirit whom to us he gave. O beloved, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirits if of God they are, because many false prophets have gone forth into the cosmos. By this we know the Spirit of God. Every spirit which confesses Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Christ, has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit which confesses not Jesus is not of God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard that is coming and now is already in the world. You are of God, little children. You are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is the one in you than the one in the world. Greater, greater, greater is the one in you than the one in the world. Greater. The darkness is passing. Greater. Greater is the one in you than the one in the world. They are of the cosmos. They are of the world. Therefore they speak of the world, and the world hears them. We are of God. We are of God. The one knowing God hears us, and he who is not of God does not hear us. From this we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error, the spirit of wandering, the spirit of forsaking the truth. Beloved, let us love one another, because God, Theo, is of love. And everyone loving has been begotten of God, born of God. Yahweh, Elohim, Adonai, God has graciously bestowed upon us the gift of being his children. We are begotten of God. and know God. The one not loving knew not God, because God is love. By this was manifested the love of God into us, because his only begotten Son God sent into the cosmos in order that we might live through him. In this is love, not that we loved God. How could we not love him? He makes the sun to shine by day, the moon by night. He brings the rain to fall upon the ground. He brings forth the crops. He makes the rivers to run and the oceans to be filled with his creatures. He gives us the flowers that bloom. He gives us the air we breathe. Even when those use it to curse him, he does not remove it from them. So great is his love for us. How could we not love him? But that he could love us. That he could love us when all we have done is to disobey him and reject him and set ourselves up in his place. Mankind is one long history of rejecting him. How could he love us? Not that we love him. Not that we love him, but that he loved us and sent his Son a covering concerning our sin. If you ever studied the Greeks, you would learn that the Greeks would bring gifts to their gods. Crops, gold, many things. They would put them there in the temple of their gods so that their gods would come down to get the gifts. There is nothing that we can do to bring Yahweh, God, Theo, down to us. There is nothing we can give him that he needs. And certainly there is not a way that we ourselves may rise to him. We could not be good enough or powerful enough or rich enough or anything enough that we could reach him. And so he came down to us through his Son, Yeshua, Mashiach, Jesus the Christ, so that he, through his death and his burial and his resurrection, could raise us up to God. This is how much he loved us. We could do nothing to bring him to us. He had to bring his Son, Yeshua, down to die, to shed his blood so that he could raise us up to him. Beloved, if God so loved us, ought we also to love one another? No man has ever beheld God. I do not think even Moses himself beheld Yahweh, even though he had such words with him.